Hello everyone, welcome to another day in the car with Julez. I'm going to go take a peek at something and have probably a bit of fun while reading it, and looking forward to reading you guys' responses. Here we go. Let's look at the envelope first, get a good shot of that. Legal mail to Judge Werner from Letecia Stauch. You ready? Conflict hearing info, and February 21st, 2021. On February 19th, 2021, I was unable to talk with Judge Bain about my conflicts with my defense team due to 1, the actual privacy of the booth and the transport over. I explained in detail to him, expressing my concerns of privacy. 2, I had a very difficult morning mentally because I am not mentally well. One of the main issues with my attorneys is their lack of ability to gather evidence. Due to this, I find little value in the term expert. First, they were unable to obtain my mental health records from Charleston, South Carolina, when I finally paid a firm in South Carolina to obtain them. In 2016, I was diagnosed with something that's been redacted and received treatment before work for over 28 hours of care. The school district even provided extra services and later let me medically resign due to the ongoing reality breaks. In 2018, I was hospitalized in Canada, crossing the border, for 2 days and completed more OP maybe? Or I'm not sure what this is. More treatment when I returned. I tell you this because it sets the stage for why I cannot work with my attorneys. I signed release forms for them to get all this information so that they would have a better understanding of why I'm all over the place some days. I asked them to use the info from a non-biased doctor who worked with me more than 2 hours. But instead, they sent a lady who was clearly an actress and friends with the DA. She spoke about him in an unprofessional manner, their history, and his election. Now, I'm sure all this was true, but I thought she worked for the court, not one particular side. My attorneys did this to make me look like a perjurious individual. Instead, it was malfeasance on their part. I have included several reasons to support my claim, as I kept a timeline of these conflicts. Communication is broken beyond repair. I explained these issues to Judge Bain, including the lack of access and visitations, in complete detail. Goodness gracious. Inconsiderate of evidence. Since March 2020, I asked my attorneys to preserve the GameStop footage, to locate the Texas police officer whom I spoke with, and to get the cruise passenger list. Instead, they spent months contacting my family for mitigation. When asked certain things, they kept saying they will let the investigators know. 1 year later, same answer. I wonder what GameStop footage she's talking about. And was the Texas police officer someone she spoke with when she fled Colorado? Or is this from some other thing? And then the cruise passenger list, I know what she's referring to there. She has said in the past that there was something nefarious going on the cruise between her and Al, and she was saying some things about Al and how he acted on the cruise, and she was saying that if they could only get people to talk about that for some reason his actions on that cruise are supposedly, I'm not sure. My evidence: I haven't physically seen any while being held at CJC for 1 year. Yes, COVID, but inmates were still being held as our constitutional rights were adjusted. Overlooking, it says statue. I'm going to guess she means statuette. But anyway, overlooking statute and evidence, they overlooked the competency statute about video recording. Human error? ? Okay, but this happens often with evidence in which me, the non-expert, has to provide corrections to evidence. I think she means I, the non-expert, has to provide corrections to evidence. She's got a doctorate in education, don't you know? Sharing info. They were texting my family and giving them info that they should not have, causing several disputes. My judge. They filed that motion knowing this county would not grant me new attorneys to sabotage my chances of a trial by judge. They knew I wanted to present evidence to him without exposing any info on my son's father. Did anybody ever know that she has a son? However, they created incorrect conflicts instead of addressing the real issues. They could have filed the pro se only instead of talking about my defense to sabotage my trial by judge. Defenses. Indeed, I am innocent, but I will not put myself or others in danger running the defense against my biological son when the system is letting two men run free who are involved. And I'll take a break right here for a second and say that I have never heard that she had a biological son before. If anybody knows about that, I'd like to hear about that. But it brings back to mind the fact that when she left town and she did that little interview with her back to the camera with Spencer Wilson, he stated that there was a young man, and that he had dark hair, and that he was behind the wheel of the rental truck. And now, at first I was thinking maybe a nephew or something, but now I'm wondering, could this have been a son? Anyway, back to the two men who are involved. One is a prominent member of an independent business, and she's got independent business in quotes, so I don't know if that's supposed to refer to something or say that the business isn't really a business. I don't know. Anyway, they used the NGRI to get a hearing, knowing I'm not guilty, to cover up their lack of representation. That's a mouthful, and I'm not sure what it means, and I'm going to have to go look up NGRI, and I'll put that in the description if I figure out what that is. Anyway, where was I? Covering up their lack of representation. Okay. Although I had bouts of insanity, that's in quotes too, though, and still do, I did not murder or abuse anyone, nor would that be a defense because it's my understanding that you actually did do it. However, I will protect my bio son, and I will protect the drugs and violence documented from my stepson. The truth is, the court is holding the wrong person, and for the wrong crimes. This whole process has been nefarious, from denying me an attorney, threatening me in the bathroom away from cameras to confess, taking advantage of me being delusional, threatening my other kids' freedom, or else, etc. I'm going to keep making it known, sir, just how much the state has done in this wrongful incarceration. I will continue to be an advocate for myself because I am not a murderer, and the level that the prosecution goes through to promote a wrongful conviction is absurd. Truth is, they could see a video from someone else and they would dismiss that person as a lunatic. They have far too much invested in this wrongful incarceration to admit they were or are wrong. For these reasons, and because my defense team is in cahoots with them, I am left with no other choice but to represent myself. Denying me my rights under the Constitution has happened throughout this process, from the detectives, the jail, and now my legal team. Every day I'm getting worse mentally due to inadequate representation and being held hostage for a crime I did not commit. These are my conflict issues and my reason for asking to go pro se. As always, thank you for your time. And she signed it. That was a mouthful, but now I can see why. Okay, when I was in the WebEx for her appearance before Judge Werner, and he mentioned this letter, he asked her to clarify for sure whether she wanted to go pro se, and now I can see why, because, this letter almost sounds like she's saying that she doesn't want to go pro se, but she has to. Then she said that she does want to go pro se, and she had other reasons why she wanted to go pro se. So I am guessing that her defense is going to be bringing other people into this and pointing the fingers at other people. And I have a suspicion that one of those other people that she's going to say is involved is Al. And I'd like to hear what you guys think of that. Thank you for watching Another Day in the Car with Julez.